back on the sideline this weekend. I'm sure it was torture to watch that game. Take us through your experience and then leading to this week, kind of what it has led you to focus on.
Not an experience that I ever want to deal with again, that's for sure. But I was, kind of echoing some of the things Simon said after the game. I was really proud of our ability to respond and the resiliency. We talk about that a lot as a group. When adversity hit multiple times in that game, I think our players showed the quality that we have and the mentality that we have. It's not easy to go on the road and concede 4 games and still win the game. But we made it clear to the group that, to get to where we want to go, that can't be the standard, especially defensively. I think everybody knows me well enough to know I care just as much about scoring 6 goals as I do about letting in 0. So the players know that. We worked on some things this week to make sure we're tightening up, for lack of a better word, and we'll look to progress from there.
I don't want to harp too much on last weekend, but it was a different sort of game.
Yeah.
How much of that was the way they played and they forced some of that from a strategic standpoint with how high they were on the field as you look back, or do you wish your team would have? I don't know. Simon talked a lot about we need to control the game.
Yeah, we certainly didn't have the control that we wanted to have in the game, and then I felt the back line at times wasn't as tight as it needed to be, and we went through that with them, and I'm confident that this weekend that'll be an area of improvement. We couldn't have harped on it anymore in the review and certainly throughout training this week. So, again, it wasn't a great experience for me watching it the way that we did. But to see the guys come out and to see Simon go get a win with the group is something that I'm really happy about.
What was your setup to watch the game? I don't mean to, just from a practical standpoint.
Yeah.
Walk me, are you watching on DRB Plus or ESPN?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question. I was watching from my hotel room, and I was watching on 2 different camera angles. So I was watching on Speedio and then the broadcast version of it, which is good because from a Speedio standpoint, I can see shape, I can see everything that I need to see, and from a broadcast standpoint, I can see replays and all those things. So. That part of it was good because I was able to see everything. But again, it's certainly not something that I want to do again. I won't say which goal, but there was a goal against that I broke the camera on my phone because I threw my phone on the ground. So, but at the end of it, again, the players pulled through and they ended up doing an excellent job to finish the game.
Did you just take notes? Or
Yeah.
type?
Yeah, I was taking.
It's got to be a whole different.
Yeah, I was taking notes again, thinking about the review on Tuesday and the messaging to the group and the areas that I thought were good and the areas that needed to be better. Again, when you look at set pieces, it's a huge testament to our goalkeeper coach, Big Cat Scott Budnick. We put a huge emphasis on set pieces, and a couple of the plays that he drew up came out the exact way that we wanted it to. So that is an area that we're going to continue to focus on because at the end of the season, that is typically what it comes down to in the playoffs, both attacking and defensively.
You talked about that game was crazy, but you guys have played kind of a variety of games this season in terms of the style. Do you feel like you've seen everything?
This year? Yeah, no question. Again, even if you go back a week, to Hartford, it's a game where we're down a man for 60 minutes, which we hadn't had happen yet, and felt we did a really good job up until the moment that we conceded there early in the second half. But it's an area of growth for us, right? We learned a lot about ourselves and tactically how we can be better in that phase. We've obviously, scored 6 goals in games and not conceded a goal. We've scored 6 goals and conceded 4. The season has been certainly unique in that aspect where I genuinely believe I have seen everything. So.
How's your blood pressure doing?
Not great. It's not great right now, that's for sure. It's better than it was on Saturday, I can tell you that.
You spent forward to this weekend, Loudoun team you've seen before, but it was on their field, on turf. What sort of game do you expect this weekend?
Yeah, a lot of quality from Loudoun. An excellent coach in Ryan Martin, in my opinion. And he typically has a group of men that that are well executed in a game plan. So I'm expecting a difficult team, a team that is very good with the ball, that likes to exploit space. If you give them too much of that, they take advantage of it. And our hope is that we can come back this weekend on Friday and tighten up defensively for sure, and put the ball in the back of the net to make sure that it's an enjoyable evening for all the fans that are going to come out.
Bigger picture, depending on the result, you all can clinch a playoff spot. Is that something you all even talk about at this point, or do you just continue to go one game?
No, well, I just found out about it from you, so no, that's not. We haven't discussed it because again, the focus for us is on the process, and our expectation and focus is on winning the game on Friday, and the rest of those things will take care of itself because we can't control where the other teams are in the table and what they're going to do. But hopefully, we can do that this weekend. We do that by winning the game, I think.
You've talked about Jansen plenty of times, and he's a guy who had some full experience coming back to it. But to see him do what he is doing, is he like surpassing even what you expected out of him in this role?
I would say the timeline probably as far as where he's at right now, but we certainly believe that he was somebody that can play a big role here at this club. I think one of the biggest things is when you look at his character within the group, this is a kid that, if you remember, he's starting the games at the beginning of the season. We bring Aiden McFadden in, he goes to the bench. And how he handled that in that phase of the season was the definition of what we want in a Louisville City player in that locker room. But more importantly, or I should say most importantly, he remained focused throughout training every single day. And when his number was called, he took it and ran with it. Now, unfortunately, and this will probably be news to, I shouldn't say unfortunately, fortunately, Jansen is getting married this weekend, so he won't be involved on Friday. So we're happy for him, I should put it that way. But this is a player that is having a season that he has a lot to be proud of up to this point for his development. But I still think he has a ceiling and things to continue to improve on in that development.